Stories. Why are stories important?
Well, I mean, stories allow you to walk through a passage in a cinematic way, right? You think about the Garden of Gethsemane. You think about the parting of the Red Sea. You think about the Good Samaritan. Jesus told stories, right? I think it was Brady Shearer I heard say one time that 35% of Jesus' words in the New Testament were spent telling stories. Jesus understood the power of a cinematic narrative to an audience, trying to teach them a concept, trying to teach them a lesson, and he would use stories to do that. The woman with the 2 coins, the prodigal son, like Jesus, all of his stories in the parables were just so amazing and really hit it home the point that he was trying to make. And I think that's really the why behind why pastors should use stories, is because they allow us to make something come alive in a way. Like, have you ever been in a sermon where the pastor is preaching on a particular message, or there's a particular part of the story, and you've read the passage and you're familiar with the story, but then you hear them preach through it, and it just comes alive in a different way. I remember where I was when someone preached on the prodigal son, but it wasn't like about the younger son coming home. It was really about the attitude and how far the older son was in his relationship with the father. And I remember sitting there that day going, man, I've grown up in church and I've never heard this perspective before. And it really, really helped and challenged me.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. You mentioned the story of the Red Sea and the parting of the Red Sea. There's kind of like if you read the story, it's like, man, that's amazing. Like, that's a great story. But when we're retelling it, if we're not careful, we can make it anticlimactic. And so being a good storyteller means digging deep into that story and helping it come alive. These people who were cornered, the army that had enslaved them for centuries was very angry. The Pharaoh himself was leading those soldiers into battle. And here you are, backs against the Red Sea, not just an army standing there waiting to fight Pharaoh, but children, women who are going to be slaughtered when he gets there. And then just to think through the impossible happens. If you find a way to tell those stories well, it can just open up so much to the world of the listeners.